Hello, it is Monday the 11th of November. I was going to do a big meme coin update tonight, but I have to say my throat is too sore and I'm going to postpone that until tomorrow or the next day. Also, really, all anyone's been talking about today is Bitcoin, and like every other person on my stream on Twitter seems to be tweeting the price. So it's getting pretty crazy out there. Seems to be accelerating as well. So I'm going to take a look at Bitcoin and some of the more interesting coins out there. And if you've got any requests in the meme coin world, really at the moment, the two markets that really are moving is Bitcoin and the meme coins, and all the kind of more traditional alts are just trading a little bit more normally. There are some interesting patterns out there and we'll take a look at them. But if there's anything big that you'd like to take a look at, let me know and I'll cover it later in the week. So let's start with Bitcoin. When I looked at this yesterday in Bitcoin, I said that there was an interim level at 80,000, and that's kind of where we stopped and closed the week here at 80,000. And the next upside target for me was 89,985, which is basically 90,000. I don't know what's going to happen when we get there. The way Bitcoin is trading, I think we could just keep going right through it. And it seems like when you look at this on a lower time frame, like the hourly, every little pullback is bought. But remember, we've had a 3-day weekend where the ETFs haven't been trading. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow when they open up and start trading. They might say it's too high to buy. We might see some profit taking. Quite often around a 3-day holiday weekend, you'll either see a pullback before the weekend or a pullback afterwards, a little bit of reversal. Again, I'm not calling this a top in any way. This is a really strong breakout and uptrend in Bitcoin. But at some point, we are going to see a little bit of a pullback. And in a bull market like this, the little pullbacks, if we remember back to when we were in this really strong uptrend in 2021, the pullbacks were pretty fierce, but they held the uptrend, and we could see that again as we start accelerating in this new bullish trend. So it really doesn't behove anyone to buy it when it's really, really overbought, unless you're short-term trading and you're watching it closely. And by that I mean on an hourly. So for me, that means a Heiken on an hourly. We go green, we're going up, and you ride it until it stops and you get a red and a pause, and it's that simple. So just watch out for 90,000 because it is a fib projection level based on the wave one, and these other fib projection levels from this low that we made on the 5th of August have had a little bit of a pullback at them. So it's not a guarantee, but at this point, for me, the best sign of overbought is how far away are you from the moving averages here on the daily, this daily 20 moving average, which for me is the trend guide. And when we consider that that's back at 72,000 and we're up here at 88, and we could come all the way back there and still be in an uptrend, does mean that we are starting to get into a little bit of maybe overstretched on the upside territory. And the problem is that, if you just buy it without a pullback, very often it can be, not always fun. So do I love it? I think it's fantastic. You should also remember, in previous really good bull runs, what we see is when Bitcoin takes a breather and a pause and has a little bit of a pullback or some sideways trading, we see profits kind of revolve into other markets. So hopefully this lovely high tide floats all the boats. Let's take a look at some of the others. ETH is still underperforming, so still going higher. It's just not the fastest horse in the race if I take everything away. Here we've seen an acceleration since we got above this daily 200 moving average, and for me, if we count this as a big corrective channel, let's take this away. Our kind of danger zone in the middle here was this pink zone. Looks to me like we're pulling out of it unless we see a nasty pullback as the US markets open tomorrow. And if this is a big 3-wave corrective channel, then the first place we're likely to see some trouble is this trend line on the top here. And very often third touches of trend lines are little false breaks, so watch out for that. And that means, we're going to be around 3,500, 3,750 on the upside next for ETH. If we measure in terms of fib levels from this high to low, that normally would be around the 786 fib, and that means up here at 3,656 for an exact number. So holding above 3,315 gives us an upside target of 3,656 next. And if you're looking at this little level, you can see we're a little bit sideways at it. But again, if we hold above it and we launch from here, that's where we're looking for next on the upside in ETH. In Solana and ADA. So of course, as I spoke about yesterday, the big move yesterday was in ADA, but a lot of these other bigger alts are having catch-ups, even some of these ones that I thought have been dead for a long time. The big level we were looking at in Solana was holding above these previous highs, and the previous highs mean from the highs from earlier in the year in March, April, and they were at 206, and we are holding above those in Solana, and they, not only that, we back tested this level and it's become support today, so we're continuing higher. The next upside target in Solana is 231, as long as we don't fall back underneath this 206 level in this previous swing low. So looking really good for this one. Is it a little bit overbought here? We need a bit of a pullback to buy it. Yeah, but if you're long and riding it, there's no reason to get out of this yet, unless we drop back or fall back underneath this 206 level. So Doge has been really spectacular. Let's take a look at this on the monthly. The big level that we said we needed to hold above in Doge, if we got above it, was 0.217. And that if we did, our next upside potential resistance was at 0.32, which is the 38.2, which is a bit of a messy level. And if we continue above it, the 50% of the entire drop comes in at 0.404. That definitely looks like where we're heading. Close today will be important. These 38.2 fib levels are messy, but if we close above it, then this should be support if we're going to keep pushing higher, and we'll keep seeing shallow pullbacks. Remember, Elon Musk is going to be around for quite a while, as long as he doesn't fall out with President Trump. So no reason for this not to kind of keep going. My only caution here is we're starting to look like 5 waves up, which means this swing low here at 0.32 does become more important. We'll see a bigger pullback if we get underneath it. But again, I'm not expecting big pullbacks in these. And no reason to get out here. 0.4, this 50% level, whenever you get to a 50% retrace level, you can quite often have a little bit of a wobble there. It wouldn't be a crazy place in Doge to pay yourself a little bit or take some profit and see what happens there. 0.404 is the level. They tend to be quite sharp, unlike 38.2 fib levels, but still pushing higher. In Doge, no reason to panic about this one. There might be a little bit of a wobble level. In other words, where might we come back and test this 38.2 fib from? And if we look left at this support and resistance in this previous kind of double top high here, that may be the level where it happens from. And that comes in at 0.355. So watch out for maybe a little bit of a pullback at 0.355, and 0.32 should hold a support if we're going to keep going higher in Doge. Looking really good in this one. Got a request to look at INJ. This is one that I kind of like, so I do look at it quite often. And here's my problem with this one. I've actually taken profit in this one, and the reason is this weekly 50 moving average. If we look left in INJ, this weekly 50 has been really important support when we've been above it, and resistance underneath it. Even when we broke above it, that's where we pull back to test. And we can see also from the start of this year, in April, it was support very sharply, and the same. So potentially this is resistance, and potentially this is just a choppy overlapping 3-wave correction here. And we could see a little bit of a wobble. I would much prefer INJ to be above this weekly 50 and buying against it. And whilst we stay underneath here with this bearish cross of these weekly moving averages, there is a risk that we continue lower down to this weekly 200 moving average, which is down at 12, which wouldn't be, well, I mean, I think at this point, you know, we've got to say in the crypto market, pretty much everything is going up. But this is just going to be a little bit of a tough resistance level. So for me, in INJ, I've taken some profits out, and I'm going to wait and see what happens here. When I look at it on the daily, it looks pretty awesome, doesn't it? Holding above this 200 moving average, it was really a pretty tough resistance before. But again, we're really stretched from these moving averages, and it wouldn't, you know, be crazy to see a little bit of a pullback here at this big weekly moving average. So I have lightened up in INJ at this big resistance level. There are some interesting charts out there. One of them is smoking chicken fish. Let's take a look at that one. If I can remember where I hit it. Oh yeah, Aptos. I'm going to look at that one next because that is such a favourite one of mine. I think I was on the right page. Singing to myself. Here we go. Smoking chicken fish. Why do I really like this one? I really like this one because I like the look of this continuation inverted head and shoulders pattern. Now, this has got the same problem. It's a daily 50 moving average, and ever since we've been trying to bottom at the end of October, we haven't been able to close above this daily 50 moving average. It's been resistance basically, and so here we are trying again, and a pretty interesting inverted head and shoulders pattern. But for me, the daily close above that 0.072 and that daily 50 moving average will be key. Whenever you tend to move off a 50 moving average like this, you can tend to see a really strong move, and with this bottoming pattern, that's what I'd like to see in this one. And where are our targets going to be? Well, normally from a 786 fib, it's going to be up here at the 38.2 or the 236 fib, but because we've done a big move here with this pullback, I'm going to measure it from this low, and we'll measure the move. We'll look for the first target as the 61.8. So if I measure from this low to this high, first target then is going to be up 0.125, and then the equal measured move is going to be up here at 0.178. So those are the two levels. If we can break out from this inverted head and shoulders bottom, pattern bottom that I'm looking for in smoking chicken fish, which is just a little one. Don't go crazy on it, but yeah, one that I like. A bigger one that I really like is Tau. One of my favourite trades of last year. Let's take a look at where we are in Tau, because we have done this is the exact same pattern that we were just looking at in smoking chicken fish. Inverted head and shoulders pattern bottom. The resistance here was the daily 50 moving average, and we're seeing really strong moves when we move above it. So for me, you know, shallower pullbacks on lower time frames. I like the hourly, as you know. This one should keep going higher, and in Tau, this one really moves when it does. So from the low that we made here on the 5th of August, everything made a low on the 5th of August. That's Bitcoin's low. I'm looking for a 5th wave higher, which means normally a relationship to this first swing. So if I go from this low, excuse the noise my dog is making. We are at this equal measured move here, which makes sense. And we may see some profit taking here, and we need 536 to hold as support. But if we keep going higher, I think we should see 1.618 of this first swing. So if we continue above 610, 731 would be my next level on the upside for Tau. Looking pretty nice in this one. I've got another request tonight for Fetch. Let's take a look at Fetch and see where we are in Fetch. This is a really nice move. Again, this is a quite common pattern in quite a few alts that we've looked at. I'm actually not such a fan of this as an inverted head and shoulders pattern because the left and the right shoulder aren't terribly equal. However, what I am a fan of is how we are pushing above this swing high here and pushing above the daily 200 moving average. We haven't closed yet, but we're getting close to the close, and for me that's pretty bullish, and I'm looking for it to continue higher. I also like this as 5 waves up, 3 waves back, and even if it's not, and it's just, you know, another swing, then we can measure from this low, again, 5th of August low, when everything made a really nice bottom. First target then, we're looking buy lower time pullbacks. First target 1.73, then 2.12, and then hopefully 2.76 in fetch. As long as we can hold above this 200 moving average on the daily, and that comes in at 1.498. So if we can hold above 1.5, I'm looking for it to continue higher at 1.73 and 2.12 next for fetch. Yes, this, you know, it might not be a textbook perfect pattern, but it does look pretty good and bottomy. This 1.73 might be a little bit tricky, you know, previous highs and lows, first time back to them often are, but looking pretty nice. Okay, another request for Nia. Where did I hide Nia? I think it's around here somewhere. There's too many Neros. Let's look for, I can't find it. Let's take a look at Nia. Now another, if we look at this on the weekly, this is not a inverted head and shoulders pattern like we've got in so many alts, but this does look like a very nice 3-wave correction, and here we are mixing up with these weekly moving averages. Today we are trading above all of them, but we haven't quite broken out of this sideways range, which does make me a little bit nervous, because it's a little bit like that first one, INJ, that we looked at, you know, where we're not quite out of the side, you know, the sideways chop, and this could be, you know, in corrections they're very often 3 waves, so this is 1 2 3 1 2 3, and so that would mean that this third swing would have a relationship to this first swing. So if that's just the case, and this is just a corrective move, then we're pushing above the 61.8, so 6.3 might be a little bit of a tricky level when we get there. But really, I think if we can hold and continue above this 200-day moving average, which was such a tricky problem when we tried to do it in September, then we should continue higher. 6.3 and then 8, I think, would be, if we're going to do a really nice wave 3, 8 would be first target for that, and then a retest of the highs in near. So yeah, looking really good, and much more confident if we can hold above this 5.3 and this 200-day moving average in near. So look for that on a lower time frame to hold as support. My favorite chart, as you know, I told you for a couple of weeks ago, was Aptos, and the reason that I really liked Aptos, it made a textbook equal measured move, as you know, from the highs in 2023. That means these two swings are equal, and when you see that, it usually means corrective, and we certainly reverse from it. And then we also got a very nice inverted head and shoulders bottom here, which we broke out from. This was this orange line, and this was our first target, and we're pushing higher. What's really exciting about this is, because this is a 3-wave correction, we're going to measure this wave 1 and we're going to project it from the low of this correction, and that's going to give us our targets. So from this low to high, projected from here. First target is 14.84, equal measured move 21.34. So this one hasn't finished, it's got further to go. Keep buying pullbacks in this one. If we look at it, this has had a really spectacular day in Aptos, and if we get a pullback, I think that that first measured move target might be where it comes from, and that's at 14.84. We could see a bit of a pullback from there, but that one's working really well. So yeah, good luck. Let me know if there's anything you'd like me to look at.